Good. Do you hear me? Good morning, my name is Anis Mer. I'm a postdoctoral fellow at Paris Observatory. I will present the results of a small direct imaging survey that our team performed, combining coronegraphic, spectral, and angular differential imaging. I will start with a brief review of the high contrast imaging techniques used in direct imaging surveys. Most surveys used broadband imaging coupled to adaptive optics and techniques to reduce the stellar residuals. One exception is the survey of Biller and co-workers who use narrowband imaging coupled to spectral differential imaging. More recently, the Nikki team and our team performed surveys combining coronegraphy, SDI, and ADI to search for cool extrasolar giant planets. This observing strategy is similar to the one which we employ for GPI and SPHERE. I will present the context of our survey. The prime objective is to search for cool and close-in giant exoplanets around a selected sample of young and nearby stars. Another objective is to develop tools for the determination and the interpretation of detection limits in SDI processed images. The sample is composed of 16 targets observed in 2010-2011. Here is the parameter space of the targets in terms of age, distance, and spectral type. We selected targets younger than 200 million years to ensure that the detection limits will probe the planetary mass regime, and targets closer than 25 parsec to ensure that the physical separation probes will be at least 5-10 AU. We did not detect any companion candidates in our survey, so I will focus in the following on detection limits in SDI processed images. SDI is a simultaneous differential imaging technique, contrary to ADI, so it has the advantage to attenuate the fast-evolving speckles, which limit the performance of ADI. This is an illustration of the principle. Two images taken simultaneously at different but adjacent wavelengths are corrected for the chromatism of the PSF and the filter transmission, and subtract. If the star has companions, the latter will move radially inwards here. In the final image, the companions will have a signature composed by a positive component and a negative one, which subtract each other, in particular at close-in separations. If the self-subtraction was only purely geometric, as in ADI, we could calibrate it by measuring the companion fluxes before and after the processing and apply the correction to the detection limits. In SDI, however, the sign and modulus of the companion residual intensity depends also on its spectral properties. On the left, I represented spectra of cool extrasolar giant planets above and below the methane condensation temperature, which is 1,300 Kelvin, as well as the transmission of the SDI filters of NACO. On the right plot, I represented the ratio of the fluxes integrated in the SDI filters as a function of the effective temperature. For temperatures higher than the methane condensation temperatures, the spectrum shows a positive slope. The flux ratios are lower than 1. The flux differences are quite small, so SDI will attenuate the planet signatures. For temperatures around and right below the methane condensation temperatures, the spectrum shows a nearly flat shape in the SDI filters. The corresponding flux ratios are very close to 1. This is the worst case for SDI in terms of performance because the self-subtraction is very strong. Finally, for temperatures below 1000 Kelvin, the spectrum shows a strong negative slope in the SDI filters, and the corresponding flux ratios can be as large as a few units. This is obviously the optimal case for SDI. The fact that the effective temperatures required for SDI is lower than the effective temperatures, the condensation temperatures MIFAN, set tighter constraints on the performance that direct imaging instruments must achieve as NACO, but also SPHERE and GPI. We determine the noise level of the surveys, expressed in contrast with respect to the stars, for the worst, median, and best performance. We consider two processings, classical ADI only, and the processing which applies SDI as first step and classical ADI as second step. The curves are corrected only for the point source attenuation of classical ADI. We see that SDI improves the noise level at close-in separations, where speckled noise dominates, while it degrades the sensitivity at larger separations, where the noise is background limited. The point here is that while we can convert the noise level of ADI into planet masses through evolutionary models, we cannot apply the same technique for the ASDI noise level. The reason for this is that we do not measure a flux in an SDI processed image, but a differential flux. This differential flux can be expressed as follows. It is the difference between the point source flux in the reference image minus the point source flux in the subtract image, corrected for the differences in filter transmission and the self-subtraction of point sources. The trick is, if we measure a differential flux and calibrate the parameters alpha and phi, we have to test the flux, the couple flux, the flux couples, which reproduce the measured differential flux. We expect several solutions to this equation, so multiple solutions in planet mass. These degeneracies are linked to the parameter phi, so it depends also on the position in the image field, as illustrated by these figures for the youngest stars we observed. Here is the differential flux as a function of mass. For very close-in separations, phi tends to 1. The flux differences are positive at low masses, then negative. We see degeneracies at low masses. For separations around 1 arcsecond, phi is equal to 0.7, and we observe a different behavior of a differential flux, positive at low masses, but on a larger mass range, negative differential fluxes at intermediate masses, then positive differential fluxes at higher mass. To break the degeneracies of SDI, we see that we need to compare the sensitivity limits of SDI to the limits obtained in single-band imaging. We did not use this technique to determine the mass sensitivity limits of our survey, but instead we used a more straightforward technique, but more time-consuming, which is synthetic planets. We injected synthetic planets in the raw data, processed the data, and measured the signal-to-noise ratio for different planet masses. I represented here the signal-to-noise ratio as a function of a planet mass for several separations in the image field. We see that the signal-to-noise ratio does not improve monotonously with the planet mass in SDI. In particular, for a signal-to-noise ratio of 5, which is the criterion we used for the determination of the limits of the survey, we observe a free solution degeneracy around 0.5 arcsecond. Nonetheless, we were able to exclude the two high-mass solutions by comparing the ASDI sensitivity limits to classical ADI limits. And using this method allows us to break all the degeneracies we encountered in the data analysis. These are the sensitivity limits in mass of the survey for the youngest stars observed. Donc, in solid line for ADI and in dashed lines for ASDI as a function of the separation. The first result what we can extract from these figures is that SDI does not improve systematically the sensitivity. There is no particular trend of the ASDI performance with the stellar age. At similar separation ranges, we see that ASDI can improve or degrade the sensitivity. We are analyzing these limits as a function of other parameters, in particular the quality of the observations, to understand the variety observed in these plots. We also study the effective temperatures achievable as a function of the separation. We see that for half of the targets, we were able to achieve temperatures as low as 500 kelvins, sometimes at very close separations. This temperature is the lowest temperatures available in the BT-CETL model. It would be desirable for the data analysis of SLIR and GPy to extend the evolutionary models to lower temperatures. Another point is the deviation of the ASDI sensitivity limits we observe at 0.5 and 1.5 arcseconds for temperatures above 1000 Kelvin. As above mentioned, this degradation is due to the spectral properties at these temperatures. In particular, the fluxes in the two subtract images are very close to each other. Finally, we combine the sensitivity limits of classical ADI and ASDI to determine the best performance of our survey in mass as a function of the projected separation in AU. And for all the targets, younger than 70 million years and older than 100 million years. We see that we achieve the planetary mass regime for all targets above a separation of 30 AU, which is the inner boundary of the gravitational instability model of planetary formation. For 1/3 of stars, we are also able to probe for giant planets as close as 10 AU. To conclude, we outline that the analysis of the detection limits in SDI processed images requires an analysis different than the one used for broadband imaging. In particular, the conversion flux planet mass is no longer applicable in SDI. We found that SDI does not improve systematically the sensitivity due to self-subtraction and the spectral properties of point sources. SDI on NACO gives the best performance for effective temperatures below 1000 Kelvin at separations of 0.5, 1.5 arcsecond. We expect an improvement with SLIR and also GPy, in particular in angular separations. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Annelies. Questions? You're all angry?
Can you
Just swivel the mic.
Thank you. I was going to ask if you could predict how your conclusions would change if you go from a series of filters like the NACO filters to a low-resolution spectrum, and how additional channels improve your ability to achieve enhanced contrast.
For NACO, we use dual-band imaging. For low-resolution spectrum, we use NIFS. There are several techniques to reduce the stellar residuals, spectral deconvolution, for instance. We have to study how it how the results can be changed for these particular cases. It's difficult to extrapolate the results obtained with NACO, which is a classical AO imaging system, to extreme AO imaging systems as Sphere and GPy.
Thank you.
More questions? If not, let's thank. Oh, okay, we got one here in the back.
So you mentioned that self-subtraction is a significant problem. Wouldn't this be reduced, or wouldn't this effect be reduced if you use two SDI filters separated by a greater wavelength?
Sorry, I do not understand.
So you use two SDI filters which are very close together in terms of wavelength. So wouldn't self-subtraction be reduced if you use two filters separated by a greater wavelength, such that when you spatially rescale the images, the companion wouldn't overlap each other in the rescaled images?
Sorry,
It's okay, I can come and see you after the talk.
Yes,
if you
just
want.
take that offline. More questions? If not, let's thank Annelies again. And also, I just wanted to thank all the speakers this morning for